Well, hello, everybody. My name is CL King, and I want to welcome you to the We Empower You Summit, put on and hosted by Bettina Carey, as well as the entire We Empower You movement and global family. We're so thankful that everyone who will be joining us from around the world is participating on this momentous occasion. I am so excited. Been up with Bettina very early today, and we got the day started on her birthday. And so before we bring her to the floor, I've been tasked with covering a few of the housekeeping initiatives that we want you to be mindful of. Be sure to remain muted. Okay, remain muted throughout the presentations as we are recording. So we don't want Fido barking in the background, so remain muted. Pin the speaker so that you can see them full screen. I've got a huge 60-inch screen right here to my left. That's why I'm looking over here so I can make sure that I can see what I'm saying. Rename yourself as a member with We Empower You in front of your name and your contact information. Gallery shots will be taken from time to time. So that means we're going to do some screenshots of you with your beautiful face, handsome face on the screen there. Let us know where you are from. Of course, save the chat. And throughout the day, we will have opportunities to network with cameras on if at all possible. So, listen, this is going to be a great day. These days are always full of energy, full of opportunity, and full of promise. And so I'm thankful that we get to spend the day together at the We Empower You Summit. Welcome, everybody. I want to introduce to you the lady who is behind it all, the founder and CEO of We Empower You. Let's put our hands together for the one, the only Miss Bettina Carey. Welcome, Bettina.
Oh, CL, welcome yourself. I'm so glad to have you here co-hosting with me. That just made my year, I have to say.
What a great opportunity. Yes, and happy birthday, Bettina. We love you.
Thank you so much. This is the best birthday ever, and the best gift to myself is to be surrounded by loved ones and people that care about changing the globe. So that's what I'm all about.
Right. You are. You definitely are. And what I would like to do, so we can, because we're always we got time zones all over the place and making things happen. So I want to just spend a few moments with you, Bettina. Kind of let's just unearth for a few moments what it is that is packaged in that 4'9" young lady up there, 4'9.5" young lady. The vision behind We Empower You, because your story is truly amazing. It's kind of what gravitated me towards you. So, Bettina, can you give us kind of like a snapshot for those who may not know in full detail how this We Empower You movement started?
Well, I must have come to the planet gifted in connectedness, right? So I've been connecting people from around the globe for years, from probably most of my life. And I grew up as a military brat, and I talked to people and strangers all the time because we changed schools like every few years or every year even sometimes.
Right.
And that said, I had a really challenged circumstance when I was in high school, and I fell in love with my high school boyfriend, and we soon dated and, got into a relationship, and one thing led to another, and he soon started to hit me. And I didn't really know what to do so much at the time. And I stayed in the relationship. I subsequently married this man. And on the way to Washington State, where we were going to be residing, he assaulted me, and it led to the premature birth and passing of my firstborn child. I stayed another year, and it took me that long to gain the courage to leave. So I was in a very disempowered state of mind for the first, I'd say, 3 years into this relationship. And when I walked away alive, thankfully, and I vowed to never be disempowered again. So this journey really started there, right? I'm all about empowering others. And along the way, I've empowered myself. I turned from a victim to an empowerer. And then I got it in my hot little head when I became an entrepreneur in 1992 that I could change the globe one business at a time. and I knew it. And then I found my way to Lee Romanoff, who founded Income Activator, the platform that we use for our membership. And the two of us got our heads together and we cracked the code on how we can do this, how we can change the globe one business at a time. So together, along with a very illustrious team of people behind the scenes, we are making it happen. So that was the long and the short of it. I hope it wasn't a too long of an answer there.
No, that was a great answer. It's always good to hear, kind of like the genesis. Oftentimes people see us, Bettina, where our present state is, but I love to always peel back the onion and find out, man, what really sparked this. And so let's look over the past 24 months, Bettina. We've been through a lot, haven't we?
We sure have.
So
fact,
so tell me how you
I was going to say, 2020, I was about to go into semi-retired mode.
Right.
And then I got the notification that everybody got that said you might have 3 to 5 days to live. And I thought to myself, hell no, I'm not going to live the rest of my life thinking I'm going to die in 3 to 5 days.
Right.
I'm going to start my inspirement years. So I'm inspiring and mentoring, and I'm committing the rest of my life and the last breath that I breathe to this cause.
Well, that's powerful, and I know if the genes that your mother have passed on to you, there's going to be about another 40 or 50 years more of breaths, because you guys got some longevity. So when we talk about what we got, the pandemic swept throughout the country, and many of us were placed on our heels. A lot of businesses had to close. Folks just had to give up on their dreams. The doors were shut, and then there were people like you that made this conscious decision to pivot. So tell us how you navigated and even thrived during these past 24 months.
Well, luckily for me, I was already planning a live event that was going to have a virtual component. So all we had to do was drop the live version. And I had Art Johnson, who gets all the claim and credit for goading me into thinking about virtual about 12 years ago. He started that journey with me, and I finally was about to do it. So we were kind of poised and ready to actually live into this virtual world that we are all living in. And then in addition to that, like I said, meeting and working collaboratively with Lee Romanoff, I owe so much to her. She's an incredible friend, incredible business owner, and she's doing such a bang up job at living living into my dream, right, and making it happen. So that was what helped us to position ourselves and pivot, as they say, quotation marks around that.
Right.
Very overused word these days, but
Yeah.
I was thankful that I changed my mind about retiring and instead started doing these quarterly instead of yearly like I had originally planned.
Yeah, so this is summit number 9, and it just continues to grow. How has it been, and how have you been able to through this it started out maybe locally per se, but now it is a global and an international movement here at We Empower You. How did that work, and how did you manage to orchestrate that to see this growth across the seas?
Well, back in the day, I used to be a one-woman show. In fact, I owned the URL onewomanshow.com for years. And I used to brag about that. But I figured out along the way that is the worst game plan that anybody could ever have. Mm-hmm. You need a team of people to do things well and to do things right. And there's so many people behind the scenes that have helped this journey. Again, I mentioned, Lee Romanoff, Shay Vaughn, Aggie Clark, Janet Francis, and Tammy Stamps were in the original group. Blake Messer, Larry, my son, David, who's doing all the graphics. So many people that came to the table to help us put this thing together and to keep it going. And each time we climb a little bit higher because we are set out to do a summit. And during the summit, we climb the summit. So we create new processes, we create new systems, put things into place that we know have longevity. And I can literally go to Tahiti figuratively or literally and the team would be able to carry on without me. And that is living into my legacy. So I've kicked to the curb the idea of being the one woman show, and that is the essential ingredient to success in my view. We lost your mic there.
Happened. Somebody muted me. I don't know how who would dare mute CL King. We have seen in the notations among the advertisement that proverb that you have, and that really has stood out, and it kind of backs up what you just said about being the whole one woman team. You know that proverb I'm talking about?
I do. When you want to go fast, go alone. When you want to go far, go together. And it is in the spirit of that togetherness that we are going to go really, really far with the We Empower You community and empowerment movement and the summit.
Yeah. And, you know, when we talk about the revenue ceiling, you know, that glass revenue ceiling that we talk about, yeah. When you've been able, you said you just didn't break through, you shattered it. So what was that breakthrough like for you? Did you set a goal to say, hey, listen, I'm going to do this and I want to be here? Or what was that revenue ceiling like? And then when you broke through, you said, okay, I can go even higher.
Well, I have to say that I was sitting underneath the six figures for almost my entire life. Mm-hmm. And I had worked to the bone, right? Blood, sweat, tears. I've cried. I've gone up, I've fallen down, I've gone up again and fallen down so many times that's the one thing that people can count on, is that I will rise up again, right? And but the glass ceiling that was the six figure in particular was elusive to me, and I figured it might not ever happen to have a consistent income of over six figures. However, that said, within the first 8 weeks of launching the We Empower You community with our founding members, we generated $25,000. And within 6 months and 1 week, we hit six figures collectively. And we're hitting more, double six figures now at this point with the 2 years that we have in. And I imagine that this could become a multi-million-dollar operation. That is my goal. That is my mission, because I want to do this for all of our members. I want them to have this experience. And we have a path that we've laid out, and I'm following it. Right. And Lee is laying down the crumbs and I'm picking them up.
Yes. Want to get some of them crumbs.
Yeah. You talk about shattering the glass ceiling. Well, you and I had an interview about a year ago, and you said, shattering the glass ceiling right down to the floor. Right. And that's when I really got motivated. I'm like, how many other ceilings can I shatter? How can I shatter relationship ceilings? How can I shatter love situations? How can I shatter all the barriers, which I believe at this point in my life, by the way, are self-imposed limitations, right? Because I don't have anybody who's stopping or blocking me except myself, and I can be my own worst jailer. So I spend an inordinate amount of time thinking through how I can, see my way clear to shattering, especially the revenue glass ceiling, because so much is dependent on money. And as some people have said, you can do a lot with goodness and kindness and generosity. However, what actually causes change in large part is money. Right. So I intend on changing the globe. I got to make a lot of money.
You're right. And this is a joke, but I do tell folks when they look to hire me as a speaker, I said, listen, I speak to young people, adults, etc. But a fried chicken dinner just can't get me there anymore. You know what I mean? I'm just not going to be able to make it halfway across the country on a fried chicken dinner. It's going to take some revenue, right, Bettina?
That's for sure.
So when we look at it, we just got a few minutes less. I'm blessed, ladies and gentlemen, CL King, to be here at the We Empower You Summit to interview the birthday girl, Miss Bettina Carey. When we look at the state of our country now, right? And we've got all these factions warring against one another, metaphorically and even physically. People may have some skepticism when they hear something about this type of opportunity, they're like, well, I don't know, maybe there's risk involved or whatever. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I have the capacity. So I want to ask you, Bettina, what would you say to someone who will be tuning in today, no doubt, all throughout the country and around the world, who will be listening to some of your presentations and some of the presenters, some of your team members, who will say, man, yeah, I hear you, Bettina, that you shattered the glass ceiling, but look at it, it's $6 a gallon gas now, and you can't buy a loaf of bread for less than $5. What would you say to someone who is like hesitant or on the fence for taking maybe control of their own personal finances because of the clouds of the economy that we're looking at?
3 words: just say yes. That is where I'm from. If your heart says yes, then we say yes to you. We invest our time and our interest in you. And we've made it so incredibly simple with our Just Say Yes program. So just say yes. If this is of interest to you, like I like to say, many talented coaches are in the profession of coaching, and we match you up with incredible people who are needing your help right now, right here, right now, when we have been all faced with the pandemic and many other things, including the rising cost of gas and other products that we purchase. At the end of the day, this path is so clear. Lee knew it for years before we met, and I know it now, and she had it right, and together we are going to change the world. So the path is very clear. We've laid it out. Get out of your own way, start promoting others. That's what we do. And when we promote others, we make what's called multiple streams of income, which is the secret to success and wealth.
Yeah, that's powerful. I love that. I love everything you said, especially because what triggers me is that, man, I'm just going to get spiritual for 1 second. The Bible says, don't regard the wind when you sow or plant something, or the seasons or the clouds. And oftentimes people hesitate and they resist because they just can't bring it to within themselves to say yes. But you have the word that you used outside of saying those 3 words. You have a path, and We Empower You has created a path for success, and it's proven. It's not just something that we're all hypothetically up here doing. Lee has helped you so greatly. I love that you wave every time we say your name, and that's just amazing. And so bringing us all together, this vision just continues to grow, Bettina. And so here we are I'm right on time to conclude this interview with you. But I will say this one last thing, Bettina. If there was another 3 words, boy, I just put you on the spot. If there was another 3 words that you could tell someone who said, okay, just say yes, then what after that? What's after the just say yes? What would you say to them?
We empower you. And the word way, WEY, we empower you. And together we will go far.
That's powerful. Thank you so much. Hey, put your hands together for Miss Bettina Carey. What a fantastic lady, and I love interviewing her on our show. So thank you so much, Bettina.
Thank you, CL. It's been great to be in your presence too. What a great interview. And now it's my turn to interview you, CL. We met just about a year plus ago, and it's been rocking ever since. I consider you a dear friend and someone who is changing the lives all around the globe. You were doing this beforehand. Your company, Impact Life 24/7. You were on it literally 24/7, empowering lives, in youth in particular. And I have to say, you come from an incredible story of sexual abuse and physical abuse, neglect and homelessness. And my heart goes out to you. You took that past and you made it something of a future for yourself, your family, and others. And for whatever reason, God gave you that path, and you're on it. You are, of course, a success because of one woman in your life who was Ruth E. Plowden, rest her soul. And she did an awful lot to help you to take your life into your own hands, gifting you with words of wisdom, which you will be able to share with us here in your interview. And I must say that you are also, I want to say thank you for your service. You had an honorable tour in the United States Marine Corps. You have a wife. You have 7 children that are with you. In fact, one of your sons just joined the military, and you are impacting students and adults, and just you with your dynamic delivery all over the globe. And I can't wait to continue to support you in that. So my question to you is, tell us a little bit more about the impact that you got from Ruth, and how that sets you on the course that you're living into today.
You know, it's interesting that you say that, Bettina, because Ruth E. Plowden, who's going to be highlighted in my book coming out in July, she was my foster mom, and she had 83 kids, 83 foster kids over 30 plus years. And I was one of them. I tell everybody, ladies and gentlemen, that I was her favorite because I just felt that way. But, you know, we all came to the same house. It was in suburban Lorain, Ohio. We all had the same 2 people, Paul and Ruth Plowden. We all had the same opportunities. And the one thing about Mom Plowden is she said, listen, you can take all the hell that you guys have went through and use it as an excuse, or you can use it to change the world. And it was like, that was a provocation for me, because when you go through so much homelessness, I was homeless at age 11 for 6 months on the streets of Cleveland. Sometimes when I tell people that, they just kind of like look like, oh, well, that's interesting, you were homeless. No, imagine being without a house, without any adult supervision, and you're walking around going to soup kitchens and stuff. That was kind of my lot in life. So when I landed with Ruth Plowden, she said, you can take all of that and you can use it. It'd be a great excuse, a great tapestry, if you will, for you to fail as a backdrop, or you can use it to change the world. And so that's what we've done ever since. After I left Mom Plowden's house, man, it's just been a continual escalation of impact in my life and the lives of others. I think you're on mute, Bettina. Somebody muted you. Yeah, she's on mute. We got to get her on.
There we go.
There you go.
Sorry about that. I was getting my team member has arrived, and I just was letting them know that I'm here.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyway, I also know that Ruth left a mark in your heart, and that you do have a book coming out. Share with us a little bit about your title, which does. You have to explain it to us, right? Yeah.
The title of the book is Who Ate My Brownie? And the subtitle is No Matter the Adversity, You Still Can Make It. Yeah. There were 7 homes that I lived in up until I got to my last home, Mom Plowden, when I was 13 or 14. Well, when I spent some time living with my mom, because I was taken away from her when I was young, I went back with her when I was 10 years old. And those environments that we lived in were absolute squalor, and we always ate in soup kitchens. Electricity was always off and on, you know, abuse from boyfriends, etc. And my sister and I, my older sister, we were always so hungry because just food was not a thing unless you went to the soup kitchen. One night, her husband, not my dad, but her husband, went to a soup kitchen, ate, and brought home a brownie. And I had determined, man, I was starving. I was documented severely malnutrition even when I went in the United States Marine Corps. I went to the Marine Corps at 6'3", 167 pounds. I was a stick. And that brownie got put in the refrigerator. And I remember sneaking back into the kitchen and taking a little corner off that brownie time and time again, reforming the brownie to make it look smaller and still keep its vitality until eventually the brownie was gone, Bettina. And the next morning, my mom said, who ate my brownie? And she says, until you guys tell me, you guys are going to get beat every day until someone tells me who ate this brownie. Now, my sister, who's older than me, she's going to corroborate everything that's in the book, but she would not tell. And I told her that I ate it, but she wasn't going to tell on me. But I also had determined that I was not going to get beat again with what we were getting whooped with. And so that next day, as the morning rose, I walked out the front door, and that started my journey of being on the streets of Cleveland homeless. I left the front door wide open, kissed my sister, and I never went back. And that decision to eat that brownie and that decision to leave is what catapulted me into the vein and the venues of transformation that I needed to be in. It was one decision. I ate the brownie because I was starving, and I left because I wasn't going to get abused anymore. And so when you ask yourself, what was that one decision? Sometimes we always looking for a million things. What was that one decision that you made in life that you could go back to and say, that was the point that started it all? You know, for some people, it's going to be to say, just say yes to We Empower. That you can go back and look on your calendar and say, I said yes on June the 8th, 2022. That one decision. See how it's all about the decision. And so that's the title of the book. July 24th, it's coming out on clkingspeaker.com.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait to see your book. And, you know, we have yet one more thing in common, because when I was in the domestic violence situation, I woke up one day, I left the house with the clothes on my back and a purse. I went to church and I never went back to the relationship. I literally found the courage, and I had no idea that I was leaving, or I would have taken some things, right? So I know the feeling and the courage that it would have taken to walk out a door when you knew it had a roof on it and you didn't know where else you were going to go. And so I can totally appreciate your story. And I'm so glad that you left, because no telling what could have happened to you if you hadn't.
That's right.
So there's the journey. You then went into the military. And of course, anybody who's listening to your powerful voice has to know that military training, sergeant, or whatever your status was. What was your no,
I got out as a sergeant.
Sergeant. Yeah. My dad was a sergeant too. Go here, do this, do that. Annie, are you okay? I mean, you've got that voice, that power, and it really is an incredible opportunity for folks right here who are watching. And you're going to hear more of CL here as we continue this morning. We have about 5 more minutes for CL. Tell us something that we may not even know yet about you, and that is also instrumental to the path that you're on.
Well, it's something you won't know, okay? My stage name is CL King. My, I guess, legal name is Christopher L. King. But really, I'm not a king at all. My name is really not Christopher L. King. Uh-oh. My name is actually Donnie Lee Sharp. However, because my dad's last name was Sharp, my mother changed my name because my dad had beat her when she was like in her 9th month of pregnancy. And she refused to give me his last name. So the legacy of my dad, I know very little of him. I don't have his last name. And the Sharp genealogy is going to end with me and my older cousin. But one thing that I will say about that is sometimes we put a whole lot of stock in what we could have been, right? I could have been Donnie Lee Sharp, but instead I'm Christopher L. King. Now, there's a lot of things about the Kings that really, I don't even like to talk about them. They got their own, the whole King family has their own issues, but I can't live my life based off of what I could have been as Donnie Lee Sharp. I can't even base my life off of the trauma that I experienced as Christopher Lee King, because I recognize, just like you're doing with We Empower You, Bettina, you are leaving a legacy. So my name is not just about me. My name is about my children and their children and their children's children. And so I have to do everything I can to say, whoever Donnie Lee Sharp was or could have been, I can't fix that. Whatever the trauma that Christopher Lee King was raised up in, we can't go there. All I can do is tell you what I took with this name, what I did with this name that nobody knew it was different. What I've done with this name is said, the Bible says a good name is to be rather chosen than rubies and great riches. I'm going to take this name and make it something good so that when my children carry on my name, it will continue to be goodness from generation to generation.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That's such a great story too of the name change, which we also share, by the way, for the same reasons in terms of domestic violence. I changed my name to Bettina instead of
Really?
Betty, which is my given name. So we have
Wow.
lots to talk about, and
Woo.
we're going to run out of time here
Yeah,
because we've
that's
got
it.
a full day ahead. CL Impacting Life 24/7 is your path. What can we do to support you? How can folks reach you to be a part of your leadership, to be a part of whatever it is you're doing, to be interviewed by you, get on your stage? You have a stage as well.
Yes, ma'am. We have a podcast, an international podcast. And if you'd like to connect with us, just go to clkingspeaker.com. If you're hosting an event and you want your people shooken from center to circumference, call us and we'll be glad to do it. That's what my passion is, to make an impact on people's lives. But it is truly about collaboration, man. It's so good to see my friend. I think she was on the screen there, Tequila. Look at that beautiful young lady up there, Tequila. It's all about collaboration and friendship. And so that's what we want to do. We'll collaborate with you. clkingspeaker.com. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, CL. You're going to stay with us.
That's
You're
right.
Introducing some of our upcoming speakers. Thank you so much for being willing to be a co-host with me. We love it when you're a part of this show.
The person that I get to introduce is rather special to me. And the reason why is because, again, through collaboration, her and I have met. Tequila Cowser is a personal branding coach, 2 times #1 international best-selling author, an entrepreneur, and founder of Intoxicating Brands, LLC, tequila. Female entrepreneurs and business owners hire her when they are ready to build a compelling personal brand to increase revenue, visibility, and credibility in the marketplace. And she's living this out. I just saw her get back from a mastermind strategy session there in Hawaii. I was a little jealous by that, Bettina, but I mean, Tequila didn't offer to take me to Hawaii. So anyway, as a certified life coach, Tequila works with clients to increase their revenue, visibility, credibility in the marketplace. With over 15 years, she's got over 15 years of business experience and insight. She uncovers hidden gems that you never knew were there and helps you build an online persona that is magnetic. And that's what I can concur with her. She's got a magnetic personality. I can't wait for you guys to hear from her. She's been featured in the Huffington Post, Thrive Global, Shout Out Texas, and many more publications. She is the shot of inspiration that your brain and business craves. You got to get a shot of tequila. Here we are promoting tequila today, huh? And finally, Tequila will give you 5 strategies to unlock the intrinsic values that will help you show up with confidence in your business life. So it is with great pleasure. She's been on our show. She's been on our show a couple times. In fact, she was a keynote speaker at a midnight motivation event that we were hosting. Tremendous speaker, great spirit, great personality. You're going to get a lot from her time with you right now. Put your hands together and welcome our friend Tequila. Welcome, Tequila.
Hey. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that, Mr. King. Okay. But happy birthday, Bettina. I'm going to pass out free shots of tequila today. So we're going to do that on your beautiful day. So I didn't know you were from Ohio, CL. I'm from Dayton. Oh my goodness. I think that's amazing. Yeah. Yes. And, I appreciate the introduction, Bettina. I appreciate the platform. You're such an amazing woman. Today, I'm going to give you some strategies about, really getting your brand to be more magnetic. But I'm going to come at a different way for you to make you stand still, pause, and think. Okay. I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, and they called us the farmland, right? Like I was not far from the farm, actually, like 5 miles. I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, and my mom would always drive us through this country, is Eaton, Ohio, and we will go and see the llamas. And I really appreciated that because it gave me a moment to really pause and look at the areas that were around us. I grew up in the inner city, so I wasn't used to the farmland. I was more used to all of the noise and all of that stuff. So it gave me a moment to really pause and think about, what was around us. And I think of all of the croppings, right, that farmers have, and how that allows us to be filled as people. We get this, we eat, and we get filled. We live off of the crops that are given by farmers. But I want you to think about your business, right? I want you to think about your profession in this sense, as if it's as if you are the farmer, right, of your business, right? You are the farmer of your business. One of the biggest things where being the farmer of your business is you have to stop and pause and think about, one, what do I stand for? But what do I believe in as a farmer? Right. We have different farmers out there that believe that we have to rise early just to make sure we get the crops, and we want to make sure we collect the crops before they die. Right. There's a season. So I want you to really think about that. As a farmer, what do you stand for? What do you believe in? Because if you're not standing for something or believing in anything, then you're not standing out as a business owner. You're more likely blending in to the crowd and not standing out the noise, right? So I want you to really think about that. Another thing that the farmer, right, has to think about before they really start to plant their crops or whatnot in the field is their time, right? There are so many coaches or professionals that may tell you, hey, you need to go online and you need to post 3 times a day and show up at this event and do all of these things, right? And we look at our calendar and our calendar just doesn't feel good to us. So how are we going to really stand up and be powerful and build this magnetic brand if our calendar doesn't feel right to us? So as a farmer in your business, you have to ask yourself, how do I value my time? How do I value my time? It's crazy because we're going through this season of inflation in our lives right now, right? Gas is like $6 somewhere, right? And as you go to the pump, what you used to put in your gas tank, it just doesn't add up anymore, right? It just doesn't add up. So it just is giving us a clear indication that our dollars are shrinking, right? And we put values in our time, like we put value in our dollars, right? So as a farmer in your business, how do you value your time? Because you just don't want to just throw your time out there and do anything. You want to be intentional with it so that you can maximize the ROI on that. So make sure you're doing that. The next thing I want you to think about when it comes to building your magnetic brand is, how can I begin to create space and boundaries? Okay. Space and boundaries. Boundaries, like we can talk about it all day long, right? We can talk about how people, are in our lives and they are zapping our energy. We can talk about clients that we may have that we are just possibly there for the dollar, and it's not making sense. We can talk about, like I said, events and things that we're doing, or sometimes scrolling on social media where we have not created this boundary to create. Okay, we haven't created space or boundary to create. The space that you have when you're creating, right? That is where we are all creatures natures of creativity. We were born to create, right? When we were a little biblical, when we were born, God made us in his image. And as we are people, we are creators, right? And we have our way of being on this earth. In order for us to be in this earth, we have to find that time to be in our being in this earth. So creating that space, right? Even if it's like an hour of your time that you're not going to be interrupted because you know you have a major project to work on, or you want to create videos so you can go out and promote a new product or service, or just promote yourself. How are you taking that time and actually creating that space, right? Block it off. We hear about that all the time. Block off this time. Block it off and protect it. Block it off and protect it. And if I was to bring you to this last thought-provoking question that is going to help you protect your time, energy, and flow as you build your business, as you build your personal brand, I want to ask you, what would an uninterrupted day or an hour of your free time, like an hour that you set aside for yourself, look like, right? Some of you are here as guests. Some of us are here as members. As a member or a guest, you have put this time in your schedule to be here today because you are participating in this summit, and or you are wanting some value, right? In your life, because something in your business isn't working right, or you need more strategy in your business. This is time that you're taking to invest in yourself. But I also want you to look at every single day. If you spent 1 hour of CEO time that was uninterrupted for yourself, how much can you maximize? Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I factor out 5:45 a.m. to 6:45 a.m. of uninterrupted, what I call sales power hour, where I am either just connecting with new friends, finding new people on LinkedIn, or I'm actually pitching people for something I have, right? Or pitching people for, to be on podcasts. I diversify what I do during those times because I know once the day starts getting ahead of me, it gets out of control sometimes. So what you can control it, right? Control that time, that 1 hour that you can just totally be uninterrupted to build your business. We can't build businesses, without really building our personal brand. Our personal brand is going to evolve. It's going to be the thing that outlasts our business. We may change our titles, but we can't change really who we are. We can change who we are, but there are some parts that we won't change. It will always stick with us. Our stories stick with us. Our stories are the makings of who we are. So I hope you receive some value in this message, because the world is opening back up and we are starting to fill our calendars with things that are outside of our home. But I want you to really be intentional as you go out here and build your business and making sure you're being perceived as the magnetic brand you are. So thank you so much for your time.
So next up, we're going to have a feature Rita Bacuzzi, also a member of the We Empower You community, and her topic is 5 lanes on the highway to prosperity. We could all use a little prosperity in our lives these days. As you know, the economy has really been tanking here and there, and we want to make sure that we have appreciable ways to grow our wealth and keep our income close and to our vest, so to speak, right? So let me share with you a little bit about Rita. Rita Bacuzzi is a financial intelligence expert, money coach, and speaker. She is passionately committed to guiding successful entrepreneurs and business owners to achieve financial peace of mind, release money confusion, and create safety around their money so that they can reach their full dreams. Rita is a proven professional who shares a life-changing approach for rapid transformation to flourish financially. Known as Mama Rita Money, she is the CEO of Flourish Inc., and she leads Wine, Women, Wealth, and It's No Secret to Be Wealthy workshops and her signature money empowerment boot camps, where mindset over money mastery meets money skills mastery in holistic approach. And another dear friend coming up, Rita Bacuzzi. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you so much, Bettina. And I am excited to be here with you all. Yes, I'm Rita Bacuzzi. I'm also known as Mama Rita Money, and I am in love with sharing, teaching, and educating around money, because it is in every part of our daily lives. And it's up to us to be empowered and elevate and to get that next step. But where do we start? So I'm going to start with sharing. And being an Italian mama, I am a mama of abundance. So I'm going to share as much as I can in as short as the time I can. So be ready to take notes. One of the cool things about learning around money and being empowered around it, it actually becomes a rinse repeat cycle. Just like when you have a new job, it doesn't have to be hard. It gets to be fun, and you get to explore and expand and grow at your pace. So with that, I'm going to start sharing my slides. Let's see, here we go. Let's see here. Hold on just a moment. It is not coming up like it did before. Gotta love technology. It's just like life. You have these little hurdles and you get to jump over them, right? All right, okay. So hopefully you all can give me a thumbs up. You see my slides. I love creating vision because that's part of it. We connect in different ways. I'm a visual person, as many people are. And so I like thinking about these 5 lanes of prosperity. You know, sometimes we're in that fast track and we're that fast lane, and we might hit that guardrail, go over the other side. Maybe we'll make it back, maybe we won't. We get into these middle lanes where we explore, expand, and move forward and hopefully get to our goal. Or we might be in that slow lane because we're not sure where to start or where to go. And sometimes we're never arriving to our exit. So I am going to go forward so that we can see how to flourish to financial freedom. Oops, pardon me. Let me get back to, I want to share, of course, just like, you know, CL King and Bettina, your stories, and Tequila, the stories. It is about our life stories and sharing to create a difference. And for me, you know, I actually always wanted to learn about money, but no one was teaching. As a matter of fact, they were discouraging. And I thought, well, I'm going to figure this out on my own. So started out on a track. My parents were great role models, I'm going to say, but they didn't teach or share because their belief was it was not proper to discuss money. And especially for young ladies, it wasn't an appropriate discussion. So I grew up with that. But when I was 18, I did learn. I got to set up my first retirement account at 18, if you can believe that's how much I thought about money. And in 2001, when I was 33, the account I set up was half the amount. And I was 15 years older. Like, what the heck is going on? How could this possibly be? I thought, okay. I went to my financial person. You know what he told me? Don't worry, sweetie. The upside always comes back. And I had a couple of questions for him. One, what happens if it's down when I want to retire? And did he have a crystal ball to tell me if that was going to happen? So since the answer was he didn't know, I had to figure out a different path. So I started exploring more. And at 21, I invested in real estate, started accumulating a little bit. And in 2008, I was hit like half of the other Americans and losing half of my assets. So what choice did I have? Well, I could be defeated or I could create my divine plan. And I kept moving forward. And guess what? Just when you think things might be going great and you figured it all out, life might have another path for you. I got to experience what I call financial cancer. And that really gave me a kick in gear to move forward because it wasn't just about me. It was about my family. Because when I got financial cancer, what that is you have this major life health event and all of a sudden you get financial cancer. For many people, that's called medical bankruptcy. Actually, over 63% of Americans in the US, 50% of home losses, 48% of business losses. This is a silent epidemic that's perpetuating our lives and affecting each and every one of us. And I thought, as soon as I can, I will get up, get out, and start using this mouth that I used to get notes home from school to my mama from my teacher. Lovely girl, but talks too much. So that gift I get to use today. And I learned by researching over the past 15 years now with wealth builders and how to create the shift. Instead of learning the old way in the old system, expecting different results, which we all know is the definition of insanity, I chose to go with the successful gurus, wealth builders, learn what their financial professionals taught. And today I'm just going to do a really quick overview for you. And just so you can see with a little history and a new idea, this is a lot to look at, but basically what it is a financial teeter-totter. We actually get to look at our money in a holistic way. Most of us been taught about this risk side, and we always look at the sexy side of it, right? Our pants are up, our pockets are full of money, and then we look amazing. But that downside, when our pants go down and the money drops out, not so sexy looking, right? So how do we prevent that? Well, most people think it's about jumping to the safe side, but then that's that problem of that lane where the money is never growing. Well, what if we could wave a magic wand and we could grow our money and never lose it? Too good to be true, you say? Well, wealth builders have been doing it for many years, and it's no secret. And this is the history that I'm talking about. 1980 to 2000, when I was 33, 2001, that's when I lost 45% of my money. Thought it would never happen again. Money came back, and then it dropped to negative 54%. So I had even less than I had in 2001. And now we're kind of on that upside, but what do we do? Where do we go? So it all starts with vision. For me, it's the vision to educate 1 million families in the next 5 years. And if I want to do that alone, I'd definitely be crazy. And just like Bettina says, if we do this together, we go far further. And rising tides raises all ships. And I hope you join me. And I have a few others if you guys want to go to my LinkedIn and check out my other visions, because it's that vision that's the driver to my mission. And I set intentions. And these are steps for you. I hope you're getting the clues. Intentions of how do we transition to being financially secure by being aware, gaining tangible tools and tips, and learning. Wealthy people are lifelong learners, and create that vision to your mission and accessing the resources. So number one is leveling up your financial intelligence. All of us have a level of financial intelligence, and we learn visually, auditorily, right? We see, feel, and hear around money. And when we understand that intelligence is a state of being, it's building of the confidence around what we know around money, because we all know something. It starts with our core values. Only 7% of Americans are aware of their core values, and those are amongst the wealthiest of people in the world. And when you know what your values are and you niche them down to the top 5, wow, you get this dial, this guiding compass, and this is mine, which is love, wisdom, family, faith, and yes, wealth spelled with health in it, because if you don't have your health, you do not have wealth. Can I get an amen to that one? All right, so when we move forward and we understand those core values, then we get into a belief, we go in, dig deeper into that belief cycle, whether it's an indoctrinated one or a formulated one. In other words, someone told you, or you were taught and you learned and you created your own thoughts. You get to control your emotions, whether you're reactionary or responsive. Develop the action steps, step by step, stacking them. Those are called habits that build our character. And has something like COVID globally shown us what people's characters and our own are. And when we have that insight, that awareness, that's the step that leads us to our destiny. See, oops, jumped too many. All right. So we get to learn what mistakes are made with money. So these are tips, and if you want them, I will give you information to contact me, and I'm happy to share them, but for sake of time, I want to keep going a little faster so that you can then learn the 10 steps to take charge of your money. Transform, have fun, because it gets to be fun. You get to set your own intentions. This is what I call a money accumulation pathway system. Wealthy people, they set their intentions. That's based on their vision, manage their expectations, which is their mission. They got that giant goal of hitting the moon. Aiming for the moon, and maybe you're hitting the stars on what's achievable. What do you need to contribute? In other words, what's your skin in the game? What are you investing in you to make the transformation? What connections do you need to make, and what collaborations? Because it does take a village. 2 is learning key money principles. Embrace them because they become easy and they've been around for all time and they never, ever change. So they are sustainable, secure, and safe. And you get to build your relationship around these principles through educating yourself and looking at it in a holistic view. And these are some of the terms. You get to familiarize yourself with the love languages of your relationship with money. And let's see, okay, so this is actually, let me go. There are things about learning about not giving your not so favorite uncle, if you're in the US, too much money. So learn what wealthy people know. This is one little system that I train on. Non-taxable and taxable. Learn about things that are called living benefits. I'm learning that there are forms of this where you get to protect your income and your assets from life events, preventing them from going down because your living style decreases when you have ill health, of course, and your expenses increase. So how to have foundational protection around this, and learning about different types of accounts where you can literally grow your money and keep it safe and create the shift in your finances. And expand your financial literacy even more, learning about opportunities on how to make, grow, and keep your money, because there's phases to your money mission where you get to plan. And even before you plan, you get to create a criteria so no one else can take your plan off course. Preserve your money, persevere with it, leverage what's on your side, either time or interest that you're making or piles of money. Most importantly, in that center is your health, and create the superpowers to prosperity of that purpose of your money, protecting it, preserving it, persevering with it, and having the infinite possibility league on your side to prosperity with a team to help you grow and lead your financial vision, engaging in that plan, formulating your own FPC. It's kind of like a FPS, financial positioning system, which is your financial positioning criteria. What is money mind mapping? Getting all the steps in place so you see it on a map and it's completely clear what are the gaps that you need to bridge so that you can build a house like the wealthy do on the right side, with protection first and growing your money there, then accumulation. Because when you do it the way we've been indoctrinated and told and sold to do, where you accumulate first and then protect, building your house only ready to collapse. And isn't that how our nation has been feeling? So if you want to live a financial freedom lifestyle and elevate, you get to celebrate once you have learned all these steps and have a relationship like Johnny Versace has a relationship with his money that he had created to be the reality of his money. Having a fantastic relationship with my money to use it to buy my freedom. And you can do that and reach out to me for tips and guides. And I'll put my contact information in because I do have a special for We Empower You. And for the We Empower You community, the code is going to be wealth. My 6-month coaching program, which is 12 weeks of workshops, wealth workshops, and 3 months of accountability coaching to make sure you master your money empowerment is going to be $2,500 this year, because it's going to be double that next year. So you want to jump on, because the time is now. You don't want to be a year from now feeling the way you do about your money relationship if it's not just quite right, and elevate it to the next level so you can flourish financially. And I'm Mama Rita. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Are you enjoying today? It's so exciting to have you all here. Everybody come on out. Open up your cameras here. Let's see who's here today. Oh my gosh, who do we have? Where are you from? Open up your mics, open up your cameras. Let's take a screenshot. I know I see Gibson here out of Uganda. And we've got Lynette out of Idaho. Mia out of Los Angeles. Lee out of Los Angeles, California as well. And Peggy, I don't know where you're from. Or Linda, Karen. Go ahead and shout out where you're from. Larry, where are you hailing from?
They're here in Des Moines, Washington.
Fantastic, Larry.
Los Angeles, California.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. So next up, we have Jan Wallen's presentation. So I'm going to go behind the camera, and my son, Dan, who's helping in the background, will go ahead and light her up. So for over a decade, Jan Wallen has worked with thousands of business-to-business consultants, coaches, and speakers to raise their fees and revenues. They master the 5 simple steps to the income they want and gain the confidence to raise their fees without losing their clients. And Jan combines her corporate account, executive, and sales mentoring experience with the art and science of persuasion. She is known for getting extraordinary results fast, faster than with traditional methods, with tools to go from start to finish fast. Her insights are sought after and sourced by publications and media, including NBC, ABC, CBS, and Fox News, Business News Daily, and the Business Insider, and other podcasts like my very own Rainier Avenue Radio, Shattering the Glass Ceiling show. Welcome to the stage, Jan.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
Fantastic.
This is such an amazing summit you're putting on. Have you ever thought of raising your fees? Maybe you're afraid of rejection, or you're afraid you might lose clients if you raise your fees, or maybe you don't know what to say. Join the club. I hear that a lot. It's not easy and comfortable to raise your fees, especially alone. So if you've reached the revenue glass ceiling, or your business isn't going quite as well as you want with your fees, it is doable to raise your fees. It's not easy or comfortable. It certainly is doable. And that's what I'm going to show you about now. I'm Jan Wallen. Bettina told you something about me. I've been working for more than 12 years with business-to-business coaches, consultants, and speakers to raise their fees and revenue. I've had corporate sales experience. That's where I started. And then I also worked for a large global consulting firm buying professional services. So I've worked with consultants and coaches and speakers who want to provide services to corporations and companies. So I've combined all that, and the results I help my clients achieve is raising their fees. Clients who work with me raise their fees as much as 25% as soon as the next time they talk to a client about fees. And when I'm not working with my wonderful clients, I'm strategizing, meeting new people, and I paint colorful watercolors in New York City. So take a look for a minute about your business. Take a look at today. You started your business to have a sustainable, profitable business so you can serve your clients in your area of expertise, put your kids through school, retire at some point, have time for yourself, and not be stressed and worried all the time. Let me ask you a question. Is that happening for you now the way you want? Imagine a whole new world of possibilities. Clients call you because you're the expert and they know it. And you know you have a sustainable, profitable business. Confidence comes from knowing. So take a minute and jot some notes down here about what would it look like for you to have that freedom and sustainable, profitable business, time for yourself, time with your family, knowing you'll be able to spend time with your family, even going on vacations, and retire at some point. Write some notes down now, and I ask you to keep on adding to that list. Our approach of raising our fees or doing new things doesn't always work. The easy answer is the one we often default to: do it ourselves, do it yourself. Have you thought of raising your fees before? Thought you could figure out a way to do it? Have you raised your fees? It's not easy to do it alone. It's a lot easier with guidance, support, accountability, and a community. Insanity is doing the same things and expecting different results. One of my clients called me and said that she had a meeting coming up with a company. The company called her and wanted her to work with them on a project. And she really wanted to work with the company and that project. However, the compensation wasn't as high as she wanted it to be. She asked me if I could help her through that fee conversation meeting. So I said, sure. We worked together. We decided the best way to approach the company and the person in that meeting, and then how exactly to say she wanted higher fees. Then we practiced it in person until she was comfortable saying it. Well, she called me 2 days later and said she had the meeting. She stepped up at the meeting, asked for the higher fees, and got it. That's how it works. It's not something you do easily on your own. So think a minute, what if you do something new? What if clients come to you because they know you're the expert at getting results? Have you tried everything out there, or are you tired of hearing of everything out there? Do more marketing. Here's a sales script that'll work. Oh, create an online course, or those 7-figure quick business programs, funnels and the tech, all of it. Are they working? Raising your fees really is doable. When you break it down into 5 simple steps, it becomes quite straightforward. That's why I decided to create my value framework. That's the 5 simple steps. Each of the steps starts with one of these letters, and we're talking about value. Also, it's easy to remember. If there's one thing you take away from today, make it this: when you talk about outcomes, your income goes up. You can quote me on that. Write it down. When you talk about outcomes, your income goes up. One way to do that is in your elevator speech. A lot of elevator speeches talk about who you work with and what those people want. So if I were to say that, I would say I work with consultants, coaches, and speakers who want to raise their fees. Well, that doesn't say anything about the results I get with my clients. It's the same with yours. So make a note to look at your elevator speech. You can even send it to me if you want. So when you talk about outcomes, your income goes up. So how do you get started? First thing, go to my website, raiseyourfees.com/yes. Download my special report on objections. You know, if you do raise your fees and your client says, oh, that's too high, you'll know exactly what to say. And then get going raising your fees. So also immediately in my book, you can learn about objections more in detail. That's on page 88. And also the top 3 things to do first when you decide to raise your fees, and the one thing never to do. That's on 25, page 25. And what exactly to add to your elevator speech so clients say, oh, when can we start? Instead of, well, I'll think about it. So raising your fees is a huge success. It's a life-changing decision because it opens doors to be able to do it again. The best part, you're serving your clients in the best way possible and creating the business and life you really want, a sustainable, profitable business. Here's how you can contact me. You can go to my website, raiseyourfees.com, contact me by email, or download the report at raiseyourfees.com/yes. Another thing, I do invite you to join my community. It's all people who want to raise their fees. So everyone's doing it together and helping each other and collaborating on how to do that. You can find it on Facebook. It's called Raise Your Fees Without Losing Clients, or the QR code takes you directly there. I do invite you to decide to raise your fees and start today.
I have a philosophy that I practice, Jan, that goes, if you only get in life what you have courage to ask for, ask for more. And if you're not doing that, you're not scaring yourself enough either. So it is a little scary, but it is a choice. It is a decision. And you're the lady leading the way. So thank you so much for doing that and helping folks go from probably making less than they really deserve and put some zeros on it.
Yes, put some zeros on it.
Bettina, you're telling the truth, and she's right. I can just tell you as a speaker, when I was speaking for a couple $100 an event, people had me running all around town. Yeah. But when I changed those and added more zeros, yeah, I may not have been running around as much, but I was getting what I was worth.
Yeah,
exactly. It's better to get what you're worth than to feel like they're cutting into the bone, because there's always some kind of negativity that seeps out if you allow that to happen, right?
That's right.
And the other thing, really quickly, it's a funny thing about confidence. It's backwards from the way we think. We think we need confidence before we do something big and new and scary. Confidence comes from doing it. So the first time, CL, the first time you raised your fees, it was probably harder than the next time. And the next time was easier and the next time.
Yeah, I mean, I charge $1 million a speech now, so I'm good.
Good for you. And it's so interesting, when you know your number and you ask for it, oftentimes people will meet you right there. Yeah. So why not raise your fees? Thank you so much, Jan. Let me share a little bit about Vicki Dellagioio. Vicki is someone who is fired up as a visionary speaker, and she amplifies using charisma to deliver her message with passion, presence, and power. And yours can have just as much power when you work with her. Drawing on decades of theater performance and directing experience and a lifelong study of martial arts, Vicki stands apart from other trainers. And she's focusing on both crafting the stories of her clients and the energy of how they deliver the messages for even more impact. And so that their speeches are memorable, remarkable, and they get the standing O, right? Since 1987, her methods have touched and transformed hundreds of speakers to stand and deliver with joy, confidence, and ease through their live and virtual workshops, and to get everyone talking about their business and about them. And you know what? I have stepped up right here just performing her introduction because I know I'm introducing Vicki. So take it away, Vicki.
Thank you so much, Bettina. And I just want to take a moment to give you just a big shout out for you and for the whole team that you pulled together and all of these participants. It's a great opportunity, I think, for us to share in all of these different ways, share wisdom. There's all these different ways you're bringing us together as a community. So I just really do appreciate you. So are you a speaker or a storyteller, or you're a healer, or maybe a coach, or somebody who is really driven or motivated by a message that you know you need to get out. Do you ever feel that kind of compare despair syndrome where you feel like you just, how come she gets to do that? Or he's really good. What's wrong with me? Why can't I deliver in that way? Why are they getting those results and I'm not? If you feel like you're finally ready to kick that compare despair to the curb so that you can serve people and the ways that you know you are born to do, I want to say good for you. I am really wanting to support that because I feel like your voice is important, and the voices of people who come to a summit like this, a We Empower You summit, you matter. This is what we need to do to really change, I think, a paradigm shift that we need to do. So I want to talk a little today about what I would call this the secret sauce behind this thing called charisma that you may not yet have quite harnessed to your full advantage. And I'd like to talk about what you can do to get better results every time you speak. The first thing that I want you to know is that it's the energy that you bring to everything that you do that matters the most. So it can really push people away. They can go like, oh, I don't want to have anything to do with that. They'll run in the opposite direction. Or it can draw people in where they're leaning in and they really want to hear what is it that what is it that you want to say next? So a lot of times people think about energy in terms of healing arts like acupuncture or Reiki or something like that. But what's important to know is that there's energy in the stories that you tell, both in terms of what you say and how you say it. For example, what you say in terms of how you craft your story, how do you move it forward? And then how do you show up authentically in your power with a sense of passion and presence so that people can really feel you, not just hear a whole bunch of words. I have this one client that I worked with recently who she's a lawyer and she was presenting before the Supreme Court of Canada. And everybody in her field, all of the experts said, this is a great case. It's really important. It was a social justice issue and you're not going to win. Just be prepared. You're going to lose because this is not going to fly. I worked with her for a while on both how she was crafting the story of this particular situation and how she would respond, what she would do if she got pushback, what would she be able to rely on, everything from going through meditations to prepare her through actual practicing what she would do in the face of pushback. And I was really glad that I did, because boy, did she get pushback. I had the opportunity to watch this on live streaming video, which was incredible. And she got a lot of really harsh interruptions and ways in which she couldn't kind of go on her agenda. What I watched is she be so gracious. She was so adaptable, flexible, respectful, answering those questions, and then coming back to delivering what it was she wanted to do. And the justices then, when they were supposed to take 15 minutes, come back, give their decision. And again, everyone said, don't expect to win. They came back and she had actually split them. So they needed to take another 6 months to deliberate what that outcome would be. We're still waiting to hear. And whether she wins that case or she doesn't, what I want to say is the fact that she went from nobody believed anybody was going to say yes to a place of splitting it. To me, this is a huge success right there. And I think that when we learn to stand when all of us learned with our voices to stand in our power, regardless of the naysayers, whether it's people saying you're not going to win, or those internal voices that say, oh, you can't do this, you're not up to it, you're not good enough, all those types of things, those objections that we face, that's something that we all face. And I think that when we can really start to look at what those things do, whether it creates stage fright, like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to show up, or it does something where we try to push through. And I had this one person who said, well, I don't ever have any self-doubt. I just go out there. What I noticed is when he spoke, nobody wanted to come up and talk to him afterwards. He just pushed people away because he was so salesy and so pushy. So I think that this quality is super important. What I forgot to start my timer, but I think I'm just going to wing it here and just say I want to share with you a little bit of how to do that. I'm sure you've experienced it where you've gone to a networking situation or you've been at a party where you feel like, oh, I'm drawn to that person or I want to sort of avoid them. It's palpable. You know, even if you don't believe in the woo of energy, it's still something that we all feel. We read this thing off of each other. This field is in the Chinese martial art of Qigong is called Wei Qi. It's about the energy that you project out, how you sort of show up and what it is that people can kind of feel. People who read auras think of it as, you know, this auric field. It's the heat that comes off your body. And again, it can draw people or it can push them away. So if you're going to be on stage, whether it's live or virtual, or you're going to have a conversation with somebody that for some reason intimidates you or shuts you down or makes you lose your voice, this is a great thing to do first. So what I'm going to do, if you are able, is to stand up. And if you're not able to, you can do this seated. If you have a shoulder impingement, feel free to adapt it any way you want to. It's not hard. We're not going to do something super, you know, like kicking or something like that. We're going to stay really grounded. But what I'm going to have you do is stand with your feet apart, or if you're seated, just have your feet a little bit apart if you're able. And feel like you're standing tall. So you're going to soften your knees. You're going to lift the crown of your head and imagine that the back of your neck is getting longer, right? And there's space between your eyebrows, your jaw's relaxed, and you're just breathing. And as you breathe, we're going to just move our arms in big circle all the way around, full circle. Nice. And again. And what I'd like you to do as you do this movement is feel like your heart center, your chest is relaxed. And then I'm going to ask you to bring your hands to your chest and just take a moment to feel who you are. What is it that you bring as a speaker, as somebody who has a message that you want to land, that you want to have people, how are you changing people in their lives, in their worlds? We're all about empowerment, right? We're all wanting to empower. So just go into that place of why that matters to you. Feel it. And then move it again. So move it around you. And then we're going to make fists with thumbs on the inside of those fists and just ground. Let's do it just facing one direction or the other. Same thing, circling those arms in a nice full circle. And imagine that your heart energy is going all the way out through the tips of your fingers and surrounding you. Inhaling up, exhaling down, and then ground. And then come back to your hands on your heart, check in with that message, and let's go in the other direction. So what we're doing here is we're just imagining we're in this bubble or this field where you're just radiating out. So that instead of when we're on stage making it about us, what are they thinking? How am I doing? To really let yourself think about them. How are you serving? And ground. And then bring your hands back to your heart. This is a very, very simple exercise. This is something that you can do at any time. It's similar to the sort of power pose that Amy Cuddy used to talk about. But what it does is it keeps things fluid, because when we have stage fright, we feel intimidated. When we feel that we're not quite there, we tend to shut things down, right? We tend to push things down. This allows energy to start to flow. Imagine your clavicles, your collarbones are smiling and you're beginning to glow. I hope this helps you the next time you're speaking in a situation that feels a little scary to you. And if you are somebody who, you just basically to recap, what you say and how you say it is key. Developing content that's authentic and compelling and unique to you is really kind of a big piece of it, but then how you deliver that from presence and power is also really important. So if you have a message that you're ready to reach into the hearts of others to make everybody's life better, I want to support you to stand in your power, to empower you, to make the impact that you know you were born to make. So do reach out to me and I'll be happy to take a look in terms of how do you up-level or upgrade your story and how you say your story. Yourpowerpresence.com is a place you can just connect with me, have a 20-minute conversation. yourpowerpresence.com, or connect with me on Facebook at Energy Matters Most. Thank you so much. It's been a joy to be a part of this group, and I'm looking forward to the rest of this day.
Wow, wow, wow. I got goosebumps doing this exercise, I got to tell you. And the whole thing about being present and owning the energy and bringing it in. And I love that concept tremendously. And I got a little taller and I'm a little bit more powerful. So stay tuned, everybody. Thank you so much, Jan. Vicki, it's been so wonderful to hear you speaking again. And then also, I'll see you at the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp, which is going to be coming up soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Bettina.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. That is so great that we're doing this remix. And so for those of you who are out there watching, this is We Empower You, the Global Virtual Summit. This is our September 14th session. We're mixing it up with some of our June 8th event. And we're loving that you're here with us today. Our next speaker that's going to be coming up is Diane Beal, and she's going to be coming into session here in closer to 10:15. So while we have a few minutes before she joins us, what I'd like to do is to have folks, again, open up your videos, open up your microphones, raise your hands if you can. That would be great to have you ask questions. Vicky's here. So if you want to ask a question of Vicky, you can. She's actually just the speaker that went last on her recording. Vicky, do you have anything for us? I know you're at a training as well. It looks like you can reach Vicky through the presence.com, powerpresence.com. There you are.
Yes, yourpowerpresence.com. I'm just ducking out of a rehearsal for a conference that I'm emceeing. Sorry, I just wanted to drop in and say hi and check in with as many speakers as I could today.
Yes, thank you so much. And of course, this remix allows us to use the best of the best, as well as to have some of our presenters appear to us live here. And so are there questions for Vicky or myself or anybody here? Raise your hands. Lynette, Joy, Hoy.
Yes, I'm full of joy. That's all right. So I have a question for Vicky. What is the best way to get rid of stage fright?
Well, I think that one of the best ways to do it is a little bit like what I was talking about in the recording, which is when you are feeling like that sense of stage fright, what happens is we tend to clamp down. So our bodies start to press down. It stops the flow of energy in our bodies. And so that keeps us from being as effective as we would be otherwise. And stage fright, sometimes I think it's really about not so much getting rid of stage fright as much as pivoting it, because it is a very big energy, right? You know that it matters. What you're talking about matters. What you're wanting to convey matters. So one of my favorite techniques is to do just what we just did a moment ago, which is to put your hands on your heart, focus on the people that you're going to be talking to, as opposed to how am I going to do? Like right now, I'm like, oh, my hair's a mess and I don't have my stage set up. Instead of focusing on that part, think about what it is, the messages that you feel is really important for you to convey, which I know you did really well recently, Lynette, in the masterclass, amazing masterclass that you led. That you're just focusing out, listening to those folks. And when you put your hands on your heart and you go back into that why am I doing this? What is the message that I want to convey? And then you actually do those movements, that Wei Chi movement we did of those arm circles in each direction. That actually allows the cramping down that happens with stage fright, that it allows breath to move. It allows chi to move through your body. And when chi moves in those spaces in between, it can be incredibly powerful, because everything that felt scary becomes just pure energy that then you're radiating out, emitting out. I hope that answers your question.
Awesome.
Yes, that breath work that you are talking about as well, that's incorporated, is so important. And of course, I do this summit every quarter, but every quarter, about an hour or two before the summit, I get a little bit of the little butterflies going. And the best thing to do is just breathing, very deep breaths in and out. So I see that there's a few people here that I recognize, of course, coming out of Colorado. The Denver area is Barbara Ozeda. She's got her camera off for the moment. Michaela is going to be following Diane Beal's presentation. She's one of our speakers out of Los Angeles. And then, of course, Lori Whaley's here. She's going to be speaking too. Thank you so much, Vicki, for joining us here. And Mia Tepper's going to be up pretty quick as well. So we're just going to keep rolling and rolling and rolling here. And so let's go ahead and continue with a little bit of networking at this time. So folks, again, open up your cameras. Go ahead and introduce yourself. If you have a question or a comment, maybe just share a word or two about your experience here today, enjoying the various speakers that are presented. I see Mia's got her microphone open.
I'd love to go. Thanks, Bettina, and happy birthday. Congratulations on another successful summit. It's coming along beautifully, and it's always enjoyable to hear everybody talk. You know, no matter how many times you hear someone talk, even if it's the same talk, you always get a little new nugget. There's always something that might resonate with you different because, you know, we're not the same people we were yesterday. Our cells are changing every day, and so are we. So, and each day there might be something that you're ready to hear. And they say that the teacher presents themselves when the student is ready. So I really encourage everyone to, you know, stay on here, invite your friends, and just be ready for a message that you might not know is going to speak something to you today. And I'll be speaking at 10:30 about my, mindset around abundance. So please come listen to my talk and see if there's something that speaks to you today.
That's great. That's great. And Lynette, you still have your mic open as well. Thank you so much, Mia.
I'm really happy to be here. I think these quarterly summits are really important as we get the opportunity to open ourselves up and remember that we are empowered to do wonderful things and change the world with our message and what means a lot to us and our profession, our expertise. And I love the fact that you always show up, Bettina, and you come with a great deal of heart and commitment and conviction. And everyone that speaks at these events and attends comes the same way. So I'm really glad to be here from Boise, Idaho. And I agree with Mia, there's always a new lesson. There's always something else to learn. Like with Vicki and Chi, there's just things that stick in my mind and, you know, remind me about how to show up effectively. So I'm just really thrilled to be here again.